So Nivishe Foundation actually started around 2017. That is when I started as an individual. It was just me, Amisa, going to institutions, talking to people about mental health, and that is when I also I enrolled into a counseling course. Yeah, so and then in 2019 is when the members started coming in and we started being active until today. Nivishe, our main aim is we build community resilience using mental health and trauma-informed programs as tool for social cohesion. So Nivishe is the Swahili word that means kukuvisha, but ours, like to clothe you, but ours, we are not just clothing you, we are clothing you holistically, mentally, 5 pillars of clothing: mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. So what led to the birth of Nivishe is I lost my dad on 2016. The year was 2016, August 11th. Yeah, and at that time, I think I was still studying, if I'm not wrong. I was doing my degree in Arabic and Islamic studies, and I had not come across any healthy way of grieving. Because I remember when he passed away, we were just told oh, you are not supposed to cry out loud, you are not supposed to wail by the sheikhs who are around there, you are not allowed to wail and all those things. So for me, I found, and I tried, at that time is when I tried to figure out, okay, if I'm not supposed to cry out loud, what is the good way to grieve? So that is what poked me to go really deep into psychology and try to understand what is loss and grief. Now, trying to get that is what actually made me go and take another course in a higher diploma in counseling and psychology, and that is also what led to Nivishe, because I felt okay, we have so much mental health issues. Mine was stemmed from losing somebody and experiencing some traumatic events, but there is so much to mental health that we don't understand. So I had to come from that point of going first to understand what mental health is, so that when I'm coming to the community, I already have a background of what mental health is. I'm a counseling psychologist, and I'm able to integrate what the community is going through and what really we are doing about mental health. So that is where it stemmed about. That is where Nivishe came. So one of the main programs that we do is community mental health radio station, whereby we have partnered with Pamoja FM. Every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon, we have a talk show with the community on matters mental health. And that was our starting point, because we got to understand, because when you're talking, you are informing. At that time, we're just passing information and teaching, but they're also giving us feedbacks. So we've come across feedback whereby people were thinking that maybe they were mad, or maybe there's something wrong with them, but it's just a small mental health issues that it can be looked into. When you're tackling suicide issues, you find that a lot of people were having suicidal thoughts, but we help them differentiate between being suicidal and actually having suicidal thoughts. So using that platform as a way of communicating with the audience has been really helpful to us, because now we already know people who are going through different challenges. And now the aftermath is that we have people 40% since we started that program coming to our counseling center just to ask more about counseling center, to seek counseling services and all those. So our first program is the community radio talk show. Our second program is mental health clubs. So our mental health clubs, we started them because we wanted how our mental health clubs work in such a way that, okay, we are informing, educating, making people understand mental health, the students, but we found that there's a gap in, okay, we've taught you today about being healthy, being mindful and everything, but you go home and maybe you are coming from a toxic environment. So that means that it's not helping. So our mental health club is designed in such a way that if we are coming to our school, with the school that you are partnering with, we not only address the students, we have sessions with the student, the teachers, the administrator, administration and the parents, so that when the student is like healing, they know everybody is coming from a holistic, like a healthy environment, and even if a student does a mistake, they know that they can also always reach out to our counselors to offer the necessary support. The other thing we offer is we offer psychosocial disability program, that is mental health psychosocial support for people with disability, in that when people are disabled, especially people with hearing challenges, we have our counselor, our lead counselor, and some of our counselors, but specifically our lead counselor, who is trained in offering counseling in sign languages. So because counseling is something confidential, and whenever normally what is happening with somebody with hearing challenges, they'll need an interpreter, and there'll be a lot of time wasted between interpreting and information lost. So what happened is that whenever we have our somebody who has hearing challenges, a deaf, and they can do sign language, and our counselor can do sign language, so it's easy for them to do the counseling directly without an interpreter, losing information, communication, and yeah. So we have a psychosocial disability program. We also have teenage, what is it called, psychosocial program or mental health program for teen mothers in Kibera. So we finished our first cohort last year, whereby every Thursday they used to assemble here at our organization. We have a counselor or our team members to go through them a counseling session. So the main aim of it is a source of empowerment, so that the teen mother, because when you're coming from different communities, find that teen mothers are usually rejected or stigmatized. Huyu ameharibika, ataharibu wao wengine, blah blah blah, they no longer go to school and everything. So coming here, they each other support system one. We help them heal through the group mental health session, and we also support them, like we try to find them, attach them to organizations around Kibera that offer like training, economic empowerment training, like plaiting the hair. Like one actually went back to high school. One or two actually went back to high school to finish their education because they got somebody to help them with their kids. They're actually doing their Form 4 exams this year. So we try to make sure that they don't feel, okay, we are doing counseling services, so the group mental health thingy, but we want to make sure that even if you've reached out there, you have something to support you. Because one thing we've discovered, we also offer victims of gender-based violence support. We usually see the cycle of people having gender-based violence, like because of economic injustice or lack of financial constraints, or not knowing your rights, or lack of empowerment. You find that people who have been abused, gender-based violence, they'll go back to the abusers or perpetrators, because at the end of the day, that is what they know, and that is the person who will support me. So even if they come here for counseling, you can be able to offer the support, and then so we try as much as we can to empower them, even economically, like they know that I can get my own bread from just doing this and this and this. I can say one thing that I've also come to learn as a mental health practitioner is that most of the time we talk about mental health and tell people, oh, take care about your mental health, but sometimes as much as I can tell you to take care of your mental health, there's also structural or there's also systematic issues that affect people's mental health. Like you can say poverty. If I've not eaten, if I've not, we tell people the best way to take care of your mental health is make sure that you have healthy diet, you are exercising, you are doing what? You are exercising, you are drinking enough water, you are having enough sleeps, but all those things are not there because maybe a person is going through poverty at their home. They won't have that healthy diet you're speaking about. Maybe they're having one meal a day. They won't have enough sleep because maybe even the place that they're sleeping is not that conducive or a good environment for them to sleep. They won't even, there are a lot of challenges which are systematic, that as much as we are doing it here, the root cause we're not systematic, we can only do as much as we can because poverty is there. There's insecurity. There is also, we are reaching post-election. Kibera is known to be the hotspot of post-election violence, and that is where our trauma-informed programs come in, right? Because there is, every year we have post-election violence. Each election year we have post-election violence, especially in Olympic, not even these other places in Kibera, but it's there. So how can we try to make sure that these things are addressed, there's the aspect of gender-based violence. COVID-19 may perpetuate hiyo kitu to the extent that we were having a lot of cases, people crying out about gender-based violence. And if you hear about gender-based violence, it's that because of the confidentiality of some of the people who come to our centers, hatuwezi share most of the challenges that they're going through, but people go through a lot of issues. So if I'm a mother, I'm going through gender-based violence and my kid is seeing it, will they be mentally healthy? No, it will actually affect them, and maybe they'll be having trauma issues and post-traumatic stress disorder and all those kind of illness. So I can say there's a lot of myriad issues that are affecting people, especially children with mental health in Kibera. Okay, high schools, children, when you're speaking about children, you're speaking from age 0 to 18 according to the Kenya Constitution. So you find that even in some high school, like it's in Kibera, you don't know who is peddling drugs, you don't know who is using what. Like there are so many things that is going on around here that we can only handle this much, but if some systematic issues or systematic injustices are not addressed, you cannot handle it. A good example, I come from the Nubian community. Nubian community are marginalized, ethnically, demographically, like even accessibility of public services, some public services like getting ID or those kind of things. So I'm just wondering, like there is also that traumatic issue. So you cannot expect like somebody coming, everybody will be on survival mode and trauma response mode, because even as you're speaking this year, everybody is like, okay, how will 2022 election turn out to be? That is why we are trying to preach peace, and we are hoping that even as a community, and I like a lot of many community organizations, our partners are trying to come up with peace mechanisms to make sure that we are trying to address the matter of peace before election, not after election as it's normally done.